The world plants more trees than it chops down. It has to keep up with the insatiable demand for wood. Which might explain why the US alone harvests 40 billion board feet of lumber every year. Enough to circle the globe over 300 times. Turns out, wood is the only commodity in the world that combines several vital properties into one raw material. But what gives wood the power to put roofs over our heads? The answer is found in the way a compound called cellulose combines with other organic materials to create wood fiber. To make cellulose, trees breathe in the CO2 other creatures breathe out. Sunlight breaks down the CO2 into carbon and oxygen, which bond with hydrogen and then multiply to form glucose. String together 10,000 glucose molecules, and you've got a long-chain polymer, cellulose. And if cellulose makes up the meat of a wood cell, then lignin forms the bones. Together, lignin and cellulose build tubular cells used to conduct water and nutrients throughout the tree. The hollow cells make wood lightweight, and their arrangement gives wood its vertical grain and strength. As loggers attack the world's wild forests, scientists worry that the voracious demand for timber has led the world to consume trees faster than natural resources can grow them. More than 30 million acres are clear-cut each year. That's an area the size of Mississippi every 12 months. What happens to all this vanishing forest? Around 40% of all cut timber becomes lumber. Another 40% become chips for making paper. And the rest is shaped into furniture, pallets, and raw materials, fueling all kinds of industries. It's clear there will always be a demand for wood, and some tree scientists believe it's possible to create a never-ending supply. How? By developing a new breed of super tree. That's why a new generation of lumberjack is leaving the forest and heading to the farm. Because it's here that scientifically bred strands of super trees are redefining modern forestry. All this thanks to the Pacific albus poplar. What's so special about this tree species? It's especially easy to crossbreed and clone hybrids that grow much faster than other trees. Some can even grow 2.5 feet in height and 1 inch in diameter in a single year. It's all technically hardwood poplar, but tree scientists can vary the wood's strength by changing its chemistry. Lower the amount of lignin, the material that makes trees rigid, and the poplars shred easily into chips for the paper industry. Up the lignin, and you get stronger wood for sawing into building products. Back on the farm, the clear-cut rows are recycled back into use, ready to grow another generation of super trees. The Achilles heel of raw timber is that it's 40 times more vulnerable to stress along the grain than across it. But by cross-layering thin strips of wood at right angles, the grain weaves together to create perpendicular bonds. The plant specializes in high-grade poplar, made using one of the tallest trees growing in the southern Appalachian Mountains, the yellow poplar. Its straight logs and low-density wood offer 2 more benefits that make it perfect for transforming into plywood. That means poplar logs are well suited for the radical transformation that happens inside the lathe peeler. The straightness of the log allows it to line up evenly with the blade on the lathe. And though poplar is technically a hardwood, its cells are less densely packed than most hardwoods, which allows the wood to peel like an apple. The blade continuously shaves thin sheets, perfect for layering into plywood. Because every piece of wood is valuable, the laser-guided cutting ensures a minimum of leftovers, but it turns out even those have value. All the wood scrapes and sawdust are sold to companies that press it into boards or burn it as fuel. So what about the cellulose? It's the lignin that gives wood its great strength. But what about the rest of it? All that white stuff that makes up most of the inside of a tree? That's cellulose. And while it may not be as strong as lignin, it does have a surprising ability. It's incredibly flexible. One of the ways we take advantage of cellulose is in paper. In fact, paper pretty much is flattened tree gut. And the basic way of making paper, boiling wood chips until the cellulose breaks down, pressing the goo into sheets and drying. Now spools literally reel in single sheets of paper, stretching the length of 40 football fields. Every day, the U.S. uses 400 million gallons of gasoline. But from global warming to international crises, oil comes with a host of problems. Not only that, it's running out. And the question is how to find a domestic source that can provide enough energy. And it turns out that source could be as close as the nearest tree. The problem is getting that energy out of the tree and into the gas tank. The most prominent biofuel in use today is ethanol made from corn. It's just a fraction of the demand, and making ethanol from corn is highly controversial. Some even argue it takes more than a gallon of oil to make a gallon of corn ethanol. Even worse, corn ethanol is made from the kernels, from food, the edible part of the plant, which means every kernel of corn that goes into making gas is one we can't eat. Which is where wood comes in. Today's forests cover more than 9.6 billion acres, and every one of those trees is a giant storehouse of energy. In fact, scientists estimate that cellulose from 1 acre of trees can generate as much as 10 tons of biomass. And with improved processes, those 10 tons can become 1,000 gallons of ethanol, enough fuel to run a car for more than a year. Like corn, tree leaves turn sunlight and carbon dioxide into energy. In corn kernels, that energy is stored as starch. But a tree isn't like a gas pump. All that energy is stored as a carbon-based sugar in the part of wood called cellulose. Tapping into cellulose is the holy grail on the quest for energy independence. And because tree cellulose produces twice as much ethanol as corn per pound of biomass, trees could be the best renewable source of alternative fuel. So why aren't we making millions of gallons of ethanol from trees right now? Because it's very difficult to tap the energy inside tightly packed cellulose. And that cellulose has to be broken down to be converted into fuel. To do that, scientists are working with some of the smallest loggers in the world by developing specialized microorganisms like bacteria and fungi to break down the cellulose walls. The real solution to making cellulosic ethanol a viable alternative to gasoline will require more than just a better microbe. It will also require a better tree. The ultimate fuel tree will have lots of cellulose, as little lignin as possible, grow incredibly fast, and in just about any condition. Poplars already have many of the characteristics of the ideal fuel tree. They're hardy, naturally fast-growing, low in lignin, and grown in vast farms for pulp. Now, by affecting the DNA, they hope to make hybrid poplars even better. But that's not good enough to solve the fuel crisis. To make the tree more efficient, scientists at the lab are taking it apart right down to the individual gene. Scientists want to turn on genes shown to promote cellulose production and turn off those that create lignin. Through this genetic engineering, they hope the resulting tree will be the ultimate cellulose-producing machine. The goal is to more than double the biomass of cellulose produced in today's poplars. If they can achieve their goal, wood, not oil, is going to be the fuel of the future. From dinosaur food to a new source of fuel, trees have completely transformed the world. Strong, light, nailable, and recyclable. They are a miracle material that surrounds us every day, one that may still hold new surprises.